So let me introduce today's guest, Ian Crossland. How's it going, Ian?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, dude.
Hell yeah, man. I don't really know where to start with this. Obviously, I'm on the Discord. I try to be involved in the community, and there was a lot of people hitting me up once I told them I was trying to have you on. And I have a few questions from members of the Discord. But I think a good question to start things off with would be, what was the moment that pulled you into podcasting and media commentary in a serious way?
I think it was, it was in 2000. I think it was 2008. I was in LA and I had this manager, this from CBS. They found me because of my YouTube videos. I've been making YouTube videos and it was just exhilarating in 2006, 2007. And that guy, they found me through YouTube. They were like, listen, your stuff's too racy. You got to stop making YouTube videos or we're going to drop you. And I was like, okay. So I tried to stop making YouTube, and then I just kept doing it because I was pretty intense, and they dropped me. And I realized then it was like my entire life kind of came crashing down, and I'd lost my way because I thought I was going to be an actor in Hollywood. I was just going to play the game and make the money and then save the world. I don't know what my plan was. And after that, I just kind of was like, well, I have nothing else but my integrity. So I'm going to keep speaking the truth and maybe something, I didn't know. It was like throwing a stone in a lake. I didn't know if anything was going to come of it. But that was when I kind of had made the decision. I just was like, I don't want to be fake for a living. I'd rather.
When was that? Like, what do you remember the year?
Yeah, it was 2008.
2008. So you've had a YouTube channel since 2000. So you were like one of the first people on YouTube then.
Yeah, technically. I mean, not technically. I was in the first group of like before the partner program, but before Google bought them, back when it was like Chad Hurley and all those guys. Yeah, it was early, like June 2006 is when I started.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And obviously, I mean, you've come a long way since then. I mean, I had another question. How did you first react to and manage becoming popular? Like, what was how did you first react to that? And what advice would you give someone, I don't know, like me, that's on their way to having a larger audience?
It was jarring because I went from just being a normal guy, aspiring actor. I was like, I want to be famous, to all of a sudden having, in 2006, it went from like 0 to like 6,000 fans. And that's for someone to be a normal person and then to get a bunch of fans. And then I had like 30 people that were like die hard, would have died for me, literally would have like sacrificed their lives for me. Fan base, like a real hardcore fan base appeared, and it drove me. I kind of lost my mind. I didn't know what to do with the power. One, as I was becoming red pilled and learning about the liberal economic order, Bank of International Settlements, all the fiat currency, all these things about the world, like maybe we're not the good guys. Other people around me didn't seem to get it. They didn't seem to be learning at the speed I was. And I felt very alienated from my friends growing up at that point. Like things changed all of a sudden. I became this new, and they were like, Ian, what's wrong with you? You're a different person. Like, come on, you're supposed to be a funny actor, play the game. And I couldn't identify with them, and I got very lonely. Yeah. So that's something that can happen if you break through into being well known. Is the people from your past will want you to keep being that guy who you used to be, but you have to be this new guy to live this new successful lifestyle.
Right.
And then, so it was very lonely, and I look for people that are going through that and try and, identify with them. Cause if I'd had more people around me that were like able to support my change, my metamorphosis, it would have been a little easier.
Definitely. And I know Tim's talked about that too. And I've also heard yourself, you both have talked about it on the show. And Tim talks about how the people around you even change. It's not just you. So what was that like for you? Did you notice anyone or like anyone around that was close to you, or just friends that changed due to your sudden popularity?
Yeah, there's lots of little probably things. One of the biggest things was I have a pretty intense, strong personality. I speak with conviction. I'm very much about convincing people of things if I believe it. Especially I used to be like that. And people around me just started folding. It was like everywhere, everyone was just like, okay, yes. They looked at what I was doing and they saw it as a success. And they thought, if Ian's saying it's, then I'm just going to say, okay. And people wouldn't argue it. They wouldn't stand up for themselves around me. It felt like I was just dominating every conversation. If I went into a chat room online, people, the conversation would stop and they'd be like, Ian Crossland's here. And they would start talking about me. And I'm like, that's not why I came. I wanted to come see what you guys were talking about and be part of the conversation. And so meeting someone like Tim, and there are other people like this, but he's willing to argue with me, which is like, I just, for so long, I felt alone because no one would stand up for themselves to me. And I guess time went by and things changed. But when that's the cult energy, it's hard. Like it's scary when people just become yes men.
Right. Yeah, well, and no one wants a bunch of. I mean, maybe some people want a bunch of yes men around them, but I'm much like you. I love being challenged. I love not even arguing with people. I always tell people my favorite conversation is to have conversation with people that disagree with me, because usually I end up learning something, whether it's the way that they look at the topic, or I learn something that I didn't know about the topic. So my favorite conversations, I always tell everybody, I love conversations with people I disagree with. I purposefully bring up things because I want people to disagree with me, so that I can be proven wrong. I strive to be proven wrong often.
Oh yeah. Make a strong argument and then have a trusted source poke a hole in it for you. So you'd be like, I can make an even better argument next time.
Exactly.
You need those people. So the two things that happened were a lot of people became yes men or yesy and yes. And then, but my friends from the past, who are my tightest, closest friends, were very much like, Ian, stop, don't. And they were holding me back. So it was like, I needed a middleman. I needed someone that could skate the gap and be like, keep going, but I'm going to say no to you when I think you're wrong. I didn't have anyone around me that could have played that character. I think it's important to be that for people and to cherish the people around you that are willing to do that for you.
Definitely. And do you have someone like that now that can bridge that gap for you? You know, because obviously you're even bigger now than back then, right? So how do you handle that now? Because I'm sure you have even more people that are willing to be yes men for you now. Do you have people that bridge that divide, like Tim?
Not too many, I guess. Tim's a good example, because if I ever want to talk personally with him, he's like one of my best friends. It's easy to. But then he's willing to argue. I mean, he doesn't just argue for the sake of it, but like if there's a real problem in what I'm talking about, I don't know, not too much actually. Other than that, I don't really have a lot of people at that level right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we were just talking about, I'm sure it becomes hard. There's a lot of people that, like we were just talking about, they become yes men, and then there's other people that are just telling you, no, that's wrong. And it's hard. It's hard to have those people that will point out when you're doing right, but will also call you on your BS.
Yeah, and it's like no, the people that are not the yes men energy, but like the people that are saying no, they're saying, Ian, like, don't change into this new thing that you're becoming. We need you to be who you used to be. That energy. It's not like, no, you're wrong. It's like, Ian, why are you doing what you're doing? They don't understand because they just know me as this kind of nerdy guy from Ohio that was making fun of people for laughs. And now I don't know. It's nice to have someone that can, but I think in 2006 was a litmus test until we were learning this new technology of internet video where you can go from no one to having 1 million followers in like a day or a week, how crazy it can be.
Yeah.
And how to handle that abrupt exposure. So I think my generation was probably the first generation that had to deal our 2006 era of how to just deal with it without understanding it. Hitler was an example of someone that took mass media and took it to the worst possible extreme, and that was new technology, so no one really saw it coming. Power mass formation with radio and television and internet. So just this, and it happens so fast.
In preparation for our interview, I actually watched or listened to the interview you did with your father. Really, really interesting. I wish I could do something similar. But one of the things you brought up in that is that you firmly believe that the future generations that are being brought up within this technology are going to be the ones that save us, because you have people that are like the older generation that were brought up before all this technology, don't quite understand it, and you have some of the people that like yourself, you were born just before all of the internet all that stuff started happening, and you were mentioning how it's going to be the younger generation that's being brought up in it already that'll build off it.
Yeah, I think that's true. There's hey, you young kids, get off my lawn. In my day, we used to, and that I'm like, I always make fun of those guys, people that act like that. They're like, kids today, like, bro, you don't understand what they're going through. They're the ones that are like running the show now. You have to make space for their genius, even if you don't see it. Not that kids haven't been poisoned by endocrine disruptors. I'm not saying that. We all, maybe it's the worst that it's been, but I think there's people that are born understanding the tech and AI, especially the amount of problems that can be solved with a good artificial intelligence program. I use AI almost every day now.
AI is it's a great tool. I try not to overuse it. I usually I'll use it as like an assistant kind of thing, like like bounce ideas off of. But I try not to use it too much. But in terms of technology and stuff, I mean, yeah, the older generation, man. I'm Gen Z. We're gonna be inheriting the world soon, and I'm terrified, man. I don't want to look at what you guys are leaving us. I'm just well, not
it's
you
like
guys,
damage
but
control.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's damage mitigation. It is. That's all we do here as stewards of Earth is like try and create the least worst outcome.
You just make it slightly better for the next generation.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And if there are leaps, like someone invented the toilet, Thomas Crapper, you get these wild breakthroughs of like electrical power to the masses. We can do that too, but just generally leave it a little less shitty. And with AI, the thing I do, just to be clear, with AI is my search is on the internet. I don't search for things and go to websites anymore. Really, I just ask the AI, and it gives me a big readout. I'll just type a question in the search box and it'll give me an AI readout. And then I rarely have to go and then I'll like fact check it and see if it's accurate.
That's what I do. Yeah. I'll ask it, see what it answers. And then depending on its answer, I'll go and fact check it or go to the source of what it's talking about.